Good morning, warrior. Good morning. Today we're going to talk about a story from my childhood that is a big contributor to why we exist, why we awoke warriors exist. And not going to be very actionable today, not too much for you to sift on and go on, just something for you to be aware of in your mind. Got my coffee, going for my morning walk. So I was 15, and first let's begin with my grandma, my dad's mom, wrote an autobiography, and she was getting up there in age. As of recording this, my grandma's still around. She's getting up there in age, and she wrote an autobiography of her life. And she asked her kids, one of them being my dad, to write a foreword to it, or a prelude to it, or something to it. And my dad did. And in this foreword that my dad wrote for my mom's autobiography, kind of like sharing like a couple of his adventures and a couple of his growing up stories of grandma. That light just shot right on as I walked by. That's interesting. I forget what he wrote about, but he mentioned a couple years prior to writing this foreword to his mom's autobiography is he got laid off. He worked at a job for 20 some years, worked at Cray, worked the way top, gave him it all. He was a standout employee, worked weekends, worked nights, just did everything, had the pension, had everything like that, worked for them for 20 some years. And then one day, this is back in the 90s, Cray was going through layoffs and they let him go. And each couple months it was like walking on eggshells around the office for him. It was like coming home like, I don't know if I'm gonna come home with a job today, or going into the office because it was just kind of like in the news, and there's always warning of layoffs, and each week it was just like more layoffs. And so Dad eventually got the cut, and he wrote about that in his mom's autobiography. He wrote about working for a company for 20 plus years and just saying, see ya, going. And I was a kid, so that's just kind of stressed to you the importance that had on my dad. The fact he was kind of laid off. He just gave his everything to this company, and they let him go. And it was getting beat up by mosquitoes. So Dad wrote about it in Mom's autobiography. His mom's autobiography, he wrote about that. Like, it still affects him to this day, to be honest with you. And so I was a kid. I was 15 or so, and just kind of like understanding that I'm going to be entering the work world, and I'm not going to be a kid too much longer, and this is kind of it. I'm going to be an adult. And Dad comes home and got laid off. And it was like, I was never the same after that. I was like, I am not ever going to be in that position. I am going to be not leave up because we had a family at home, not leave up my security of my family, the security, safety and security of my future wife, my future kids. I don't know if I was planning on having it, but it just kind of affected me. I was just like, up to that point, I was preached by my dad to go to school, get a good job, graduate from college with a degree, go work for a company for 30, 40, 50 years, take care of that company, and that company will take care of you, and retire into the sunset. And within a moment like that my entire life was just like, oh. So then I watched my dad, who was an employee his whole life, bought into that, drank that Kool-Aid, and I watched him enter his own entrepreneurial adventure and struggled. And he ended up grabbing jobs that didn't serve him, that didn't feed his soul. He ended up grabbing just to put food on the table. Jobs that he hated, factory type jobs, night shifts, overnight shifts. He ended up starting a couple of his own little businesses that struggled, we'll say. And I just felt so powerless as a kid watching this. And watching all this go down, and I ended up starting work soon after myself. Ended up getting one of those jobs as a 16-year-old as soon as I was able to. But I knew I was never going to, I didn't know entrepreneurial was the answer. I didn't know a business was the answer. And so I forgot what I was going to say. But that's kind of it. It's just kind of in honor of my dad and the stuff that he didn't know when he got into business for himself for the first time. Wow, look at this really nice cut lawn. Let's see that. Whoa, beautiful lawn. Wow. So let me take care of the lawn. Not buying into that. So wherever you're at in your journey, my friend, my woke warrior friend, whether you got a business that's been running for a while and it's kind of just struggling, and it's just all this stuff that you don't know, and you don't know who to listen to, who to turn to, or it's just like you at just the beginning of an entrepreneurial journey, whether it's online, offline, whatever has you, just like you understand that it's up to you to take care for your family, to be there for your kids' baseball games, the softball games. That's another thing. Like growing up, my dad got to be so busy, he was never there. He was never there for us. Because and then when he started his entrepreneurial businesses, holy bull, we'll tell you all about that some other time as well. All the struggles that he had, but that's kind of it. Okay, what's going to happen now here and out is just going to share with you all my mistakes, share with you all my struggles, share with you my redemptions, my low points, my mistakes, share with you how to do it yourself, everything I learned. We'll talk about that in the next bunch of videos. Woke Warrior, episode 2 in the books. Bye.